In 2004 in Baghdad, 3 soldiers from an army bomb disposal team are inspecting a report of an improvised explosive device, IED. They employ an advanced robot drone to investigate the device, made up of multiple undetonated artillery shells connected by wires and concealed under plastic and fabric covers. The team, under the leadership of Sergeant Thompson, determines that they can set off the IED utilizing plastic explosives that can be activated from a secure distance. Thompson reassures that the explosion will not lead to significant property destruction and is not expected to cause any casualties. The robot has a small cart attached to it and is deployed to the blast zone. Unfortunately, the trailer attached to the robot loses a wheel before reaching the IED. Thompson, wearing a bomb suit, goes down to the trailer, picks it up, and takes it to the IED to rig it properly. Meanwhile, his companions, Sergeant Sanborn and Specialist Eldridge, keep a lookout for suspicious individuals in the area. At a distance of approximately 25 meters from the bomb, but still within the danger zone, Eldridge notices a man at a butcher shop using a cell phone. He alerts Sanborn, who instructs Eldridge to approach the man and demand he drop the phone. Eldridge starts running towards the man, while Sanborn commands him to shoot the man as he tries to dial on the phone. Tragically, the bomb explodes while Thompson is still in the vicinity, despite wearing protective gear. The blast kills Thompson, causing blood to splatter on the visor of his helmet. Sanborn oversees the packing of Thompson's body in a coffin for transport back home. He examines Thompson's belongings briefly before the coffin is closed. Meanwhile, Eldridge is found in the recreation room at the base when the base psychologist, Lieutenant Colonel Cambridge, enters and inquires about his well-being following Thompson's death. Eldridge is visibly distressed by the event as he practices firing his rifle without ammunition, indicating his regret for not taking action to save Thompson's life by shooting the man with the phone. Sergeant William James, the team's new leader, arrives at the base and is greeted by Sanborn at his housing unit, where James is removing the plywood covers from his windows. Sanborn advises James to keep the covers on to protect against mortar shrapnel, but James disagrees, explaining that they would be useless if a mortar shell hit the unit's roof. The following day, the team responds to a report of another IED on a narrow street in the city. After the initial investigation, they meet up with the Army platoon that reported the bomb, where James is seen in a suit similar to the one Thompson had worn previously. James throws a smoke grenade as he approaches the bomb site, causing Sanborn to feel unsettled as he is unable to see James for further instructions. James also fails to communicate with his team members, which does not sit well with Sanborn. James discovers an artillery shell buried under a small pile of trash, easily disarms it, and notices a secondary wire leading away from it. He exposes the cable and realizes it is connected to 6 more cables. When James pulls on the junction connector, 6 more shells are revealed. A cable from the junction leads to a nearby building. James disarms the 6 new shells and sees a man quickly leaving the building, likely the bomber. James taunts the man with a small detonator from one of the shells and watches as he flees. Back at their Humvee, Sanborn advises James to improve his communication during operations and not view his duty as a solo endeavor. James disregards his teammates' advice. Later, while grooming themselves for the day in the latrine, James acts similarly dismissive when chatting with Sanborn. The team is once again called to respond to another bomb threat, this time involving a car parked in front of a United Nations building. James, wearing a bomb suit, approaches the car, which suddenly catches fire. He uses a fire extinguisher to put out the flames and inspects the car while Eldridge and Sanborn keep watch. Inside the trunk, he finds artillery shells similar to ones he had seen before. Realizing the danger, James removes his bomb suit as it won't offer sufficient protection. He disarms the shells and locates the triggering device after a thorough search. Ignoring distractions, James focuses on the task at hand. Eldridge and Sanborn notice groups of Iraqis observing from rooftops and a man filming the scene. James successfully disables the triggering device and is praised by a colonel for his calm demeanor and skill in handling the crisis. Despite being punched by Sanborn, James remains unfazed and impresses the colonel with his experience in disposing of bombs. At the base perimeter, Sergeant James has a confrontation with a young Iraqi boy who is selling bootleg DVDs to the soldiers. The boy, who goes by the name Beckham and enjoys playing soccer, had previously sold James a low-quality movie for $5. James now demands his money back from Beckham. Beckham tries to negotiate with James, who finds the situation amusing and challenges Beckham to block a shot at the goal area they have set up. Despite Beckham blocking the shot, James agrees to purchase another movie from him, warning him of potential consequences if the quality is subpar. The team heads to the desert to set off some of the explosives they have gathered from missions. While getting ready to detonate another bomb, James asks Sanborn to briefly go down to the blast zone to retrieve the gloves he had left there. During James's absence, Sanborn confides in Eldridge about the possibility of harming James by setting off the bomb while he is in the blast zone, making it look like an accident due to the hazardous nature of the explosives they use in the desert. Sanborn appears determined to carry out this plan, but Eldridge manages to talk him out of it. While on their way back to the city, the team comes across two SUVs parked in their path. As they approach, the occupants appear to be a potential threat. However, upon Sanborn and his team's orders, the men near the vehicles comply and drop their weapons. One of them discloses that he is a British commando, which eases the tension. The British man explains that they have a flat tire and a broken jack handle. James offers them tools from their Hummer to help. As one of the British men deals with the flat tire, the Brit presents the bomb unit with the detainees he has managed to capture, likely high-ranking Iraqi officials, in exchange for a reward. Suddenly, one of the men fixing the tire gets hit by sniper fire and collapses without a sound. In the chaos that ensues, the British commando coldly shoots both of his captives as they attempt to flee, as the reward is the same whether they are brought in dead or alive. The bomb unit and the British soldiers are in a difficult situation. Another British soldier is fatally shot while operating the Hummer's powerful machine gun. The leader of the British team positions himself on a small hill with a sniper rifle to engage the enemy sniper and their group hiding in a stone building. While adjusting his rifle, the team leader is hit by the enemy sniper and killed. Sanborn takes over the rifle, and James assists by providing spotting with a scope. They exchange fire with the enemy, but eventually run out of ammunition. James has Eldridge search the fallen soldier's belongings, and they find a full magazine, although it is covered in blood and needs to be cleaned for use in the rifle. James helps Eldridge clean the rounds. Sanborn resumes targeting the building, and with James guiding him, they successfully eliminate all enemy soldiers. Eldridge sees another possible sniper behind James and Sanborn and fires at him. Uncertain of his accuracy, Eldridge manages to hit and kill the other sniper. The incident appears to have strengthened the bond between James and his teammates. They discovered they can effectively work together as a team and celebrated at James's home by exchanging chest bumps and having drinks. During their conversation, they discussed James's unique qualities as a teammate and how he joined the team. James revealed a collection of bomb parts he has saved from past disarms, explaining that they serve as reminders of the perilous nature of their job. Eldridge and Sanborn, initially confused, now see that James is indeed a valuable team member, especially after the desert incident. During their next mission, Colonel Cambridge joins the team as they patrol a building suspected of containing bomb-making materials. While Cambridge remains outside, the team conducts a search and discovers the bomb-making supplies, along with clues indicating the bomb makers had recently left. James comes across the body of a young boy resembling Beckham, with a noticeable incision on the chest. Upon further examination, he uncovers pounds of plastic explosives hidden in the boy's abdominal cavity. James carries the boy outside to the Humvee. Meanwhile, Cambridge is attempting to evacuate the locals from the street when another IED explosion occurs, resulting in his death. In the chaotic aftermath, Eldridge is unable to come to terms with Cambridge's demise and begins searching the area for his missing colleague. He eventually locates Cambridge's helmet in the blast zone. James has a conversation with a DVD seller at the base. He inquires whether the seller is familiar with Beckham, but due to the seller's limited English proficiency, he does not provide any information. James then checks with a nearby sergeant to confirm the legitimacy of the seller, who assures him that the seller has been cleared. Later, James follows the seller as he packs up and leaves, coercing him to take him to Beckham's residence. Upon entering the house, James encounters another man in the kitchen who appears frightened yet surprisingly welcoming. Holding a gun, James demands to know Beckham's whereabouts, but the man is unaware. It dawns on James that he has mistakenly entered the wrong home, and as he attempts to depart, the man's wife confronts him by shouting and throwing objects. James makes his way back to the base, encountering numerous hostile locals along the route. Upon reaching the main gate, he identifies himself as a U.S. soldier and is promptly arrested. During questioning by the duty sergeant regarding his unauthorized nighttime excursion, James fabricates a story about being at a brothel. The sergeant cunningly asks him for the location of the establishment. At night, the team is called to investigate a bomb explosion site. Upon arrival, they discover a bomb had detonated near an oil tanker truck, resulting in a large blast area. James examines the perimeter and speculates that the bomber did not die in the explosion, but triggered it from outside. Determined to find the perpetrator, James instructs Sanborn and Eldridge to search the surrounding streets. They separate, and gunfire is heard, prompting Sanborn and James to regroup. They witness Eldridge being taken by two unknown individuals and proceed to shoot them, unfortunately injuring Eldridge in the process. James is distraught over harming his colleague and struggles emotionally, finding himself in tears fully dressed in the shower. The following day, James and Sanborn head to meet Eldridge at the helicopter that will transport him out. As Eldridge approaches their Humvee, Beckham, who is unexpectedly alive, attempts to converse with him, but James disregards him. Eldridge expresses resentment towards James for shooting him, mentioning that his femur is shattered and it will take months to recover. He also criticizes James for leading them into a hazardous area just to fulfill his adrenaline rush. Eldridge is then airlifted away. Sanborn and James are alerted to a potential bomb threat and discover a man standing alone in a large plaza. James instructs the translator to order the man to kneel down as he approaches him. Upon opening his coat, James sees the man is carrying several pounds of C4 explosives attached to steel bars secured with padlocks. Despite the man pleading for his life and mentioning his family, James struggles to deactivate the bomb due to the complex locks. With only 2 minutes remaining on the timer, James is forced to leave the man behind. The bomb detonates moments later, killing the man and tossing James, wearing a bomb suit, away from the explosion. Sanborn rushes to check on James, who is initially thought to be dead like Thompson. James regains consciousness, and as they make their way back to the base, Sanborn expresses his fear of dying in Iraq without ever having a family. James tries to reassure and encourage Sanborn, assuring him that they will both make it home safely and begin their own families. The team's rotation comes to an end, and James returns to his house and loved ones. When he goes shopping at a store, he feels overwhelmed by the vast variety of products in the cereal aisle. He struggles to adapt to being back home, and his interactions with his wife and daughter become more tense. Eventually, James makes the decision to go back to Iraq. The movie concludes with him starting a fresh rotation and heading towards another bomb site in his uniform.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're a fan of our channel, be sure to check out our other videos.